Have you ever bought something not because it was trendy, but because it felt honest? Not because it was cheap, but because it felt meaningful. Today, I want to tell you the story of a company that tried to do business in a very different way. A company that asked a dangerous question. What if growth is not the goal? What if profit is not the most important thing? This is the story of Patagonia. And it begins with a man who didn't want to be a businessman at all. His name is Yvon Chouinard. Yvon grew up in California. As a teenager, he loved the outdoors. He loved climbing rocks, exploring mountains, and being far away from cities. He didn't care much about money. He cared about freedom. In the 1,950 seconds and 60 seconds, rock climbing was still a small community. There were no big brands, no expensive gear. Most climbers made their own equipment. Yvon was one of them. He started making metal climbing tools by hand in his parents' backyard. He didn't think of it as a business. He just wanted better tools for himself and his friends. But something unexpected happened. Other climbers began to notice his tools. They said they were stronger, safer, better designed. They wanted to buy them. Slowly, without planning to, Yvon started a small business. At first, it was simple. Make good tools, sell them to climbers, use the money to go climbing again. But as the business grew, Yvon began to notice something uncomfortable. The metal tools he sold were damaging the rocks. They left scars on the cliffs. They were hurting the very nature he loved. This created a serious conflict. He was selling products that helped people enjoy nature, but those same products were destroying it. Many business owners would ignore this problem. But Yvon didn't. Instead, he made a difficult decision. He stopped selling the damaging tools. It cost the company a lot of money. But it also created a new idea. What if business could exist without harming the planet? That question became the heart of Patagonia. The company expanded from climbing gear into outdoor clothing, jackets, backpacks, hiking gear, but the philosophy stayed the same. Use better materials. Reduce harm. Be honest about impact. While most fashion companies tried to make products cheaper and faster, Patagonia did the opposite. They asked, where does this material come from? Who made this product? What happens when it is thrown away? They began using organic cotton when almost no one else did. They invested in recycled materials even when it cost more. They openly admitted that their products still caused harm. This honesty was unusual. They once ran an advertisement that said, "Don't buy this jacket." It wasn't a joke. The message was simple. Don't buy what you don't need. Repair what you have. Consume less. Imagine that. A company telling people not to buy. Many thought it was bad marketing. But something surprising happened. People trusted them more. Customers began to feel that Patagonia was not just selling products. They were sharing values. The company encouraged customers to repair old clothing instead of replacing it. They created programs to resell used items. They supported environmental activism, even when it was politically risky. Yvon never acted like a traditional CEO. He didn't wear suits. He didn't like meetings. He often went surfing during work hours. He once said, "The cure for depression is action outdoors." To him, life came first. Business came second. Then, in 2022, Yvon made a decision that shocked the world. He gave away the company. Not sold, not passed to his children. He gave it away. He transferred ownership of Patagonia into a trust and a nonprofit organization. All future profits would go toward fighting climate change and protecting nature. This meant that Patagonia would no longer exist to make him richer. It would exist to protect the planet. Many people asked, why would someone give away a billion-dollar company? Ivan's answer was simple. He said, instead of extracting value from nature and transforming it into wealth, we are using the wealth to protect the source. It was not a marketing move. It was a lifetime belief, taken to its final step. Patagonia's story is not about becoming the biggest brand. It is not about dominating markets. It is about consistency, doing the same thing in private that you claim to do in public. Of course, Patagonia is not perfect. They still sell products. They still have environmental impact. But what makes them different is that they never pretend to be perfect. They admit the complexity. They stay in the uncomfortable questions. And that is rare. In a world where many brands shout loudly about sustainability, Patagonia often speaks quietly and acts more than it speaks. Their story forces us to think differently. What is a successful company? One that grows fastest? Or one that stays honest longest? What is a good product? One that sells the most? Or one that harms the least? Patagonia doesn't offer easy answers, but they offer something better, a direction. The story of Patagonia reminds us that business does not have to be empty. It does not have to be only about money. It can be about care, about responsibility, about long-term thinking. Yvon Chouinard never wanted to build an empire. He wanted to climb rocks, protect nature, and live simply. Yet by doing so, he created one of the most respected brands in the world, not through ambition, but through integrity. So next time you buy something, pause for a moment. Ask where it came from, who made it, why it exists. Because every purchase is a small vote for the world you support, for the values you believe in. And sometimes the quietest companies tell the most powerful stories.